Hi, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, Texas, on Saturday, March the 15th, and welcome to our commentary. Well, once again, contacting you from East Texas, where I'm doing a little travel these days, getting back to North Texas early next week. As I said yesterday, this is a beautiful part of the state. I mean, I just love coming to this area as much as I can. Well, this is the Ides of March. I'm sure all of you remember that. March 15th is when Julius Caesar was assassinated back many centuries ago. Well, they finally got the continuing resolution through. I guess my guess turned out to be right. They did it. They got enough Democrats to do it. I think they got just over 60. They needed six or seven. They got, I think, eight. I didn't see all of them, who they were. I know of only three. The minority leader, Mr. Fetterman from Pennsylvania, and one of the two ladies from Nevada. I don't frankly remember her name, but anyway, it passed. It's now in. It's in. I think President Trump signed it today, Saturday, from what I understand, or maybe late last night, from what I understand. So we're not going to have a shutdown. We're going to have a continuing resolution for the next 6 months. And that, of course, gives the Republicans the opportunity to do reconciliation, which is the next big thing they got to do. Do the reconciliation and get many of these Trump programs in through reconciliation. They only need 51 votes for that. I mean, they've got 53. So they can even lose four, or I guess three. And if you end up in a 50-50 tie, the vice president can break it for you. So it's one of those things where I think that it was a good victory for the Republicans. It was a good victory for the country. I think it would have been very destructive to have gone through a shutdown and all the garbage that brings. So I'm kind of glad that we were able to do that. But I think the big story of the last few days is what is happening in the Democrat Party. I have a post over at the American Thinker today talking about a party in disarray. I use the analogy of a tune-up. The Democrats really need a tune-up. Sort of like when your car is making strange noises or not driving well or stalling or whatever, and you go to the mechanic and you give it a tune-up. That's really what the Democrats need. They need a tune-up. They need to go in there, change the oil, change whatever they have to do, and just have a tune-up, because what they are doing is not working. The messaging, and that's the other problem. They have two messages. They have two problems, I should say. Number one, they don't have a leader. There's no one in the Democrat Party who can stand up to Trump. Nobody who can match the ability that Trump has to go out and make news at a moment's notice, or anybody who can stand up to him when he makes news at a moment's notice. They just don't have it. There isn't anybody who can do that. And the other thing they don't have is a message, which is perhaps more important than the leader, because you can always get a leader once you have a message. And it's a party that is completely torn up between the center, people like John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, who understand you got to win elections, and people on the other hand, this lady Alejandra Ocasio-Cortez from New York, the congresswoman, who is all in. She's all in on woke and all that stuff. But the problem is they don't have a message, as I say, and until they get a message, they're not going to be able to get anything done. Now, back in 2009, after the Republicans lost to then Senator Obama, they lost the House and they lost the Senate in 2006, and then they lost the presidency in 2008. And I can tell you, because I was there, the party's spirits were really down. People felt, there were even questions as to whether or not the party would even survive. Well, the party did survive. In fact, just 2 years later, picked up the House and almost picked up the Senate. In fact, they picked it up. They picked the Senate in 2014. But the reason that the GOP was able to get back in the game was because they had a message. And the message was the Tea Party. The Tea Party movement is what basically put the GOP back together, because it gave the GOP the energy to get into the game with ideas, not just say that, Barack Obama was a socialist or a left-winger, or that he wasn't born in the United States, all that stuff that was kind of old business by 2009. But they were able to go out there and present a message, an alternative. Then came, of course, Obamacare, which ignited even more resistance, and that is how it came together. And the comeback in 2010 was very much based on the Tea Party, and clearly picking up the Senate in 2014 was a big part of the Tea Party as well. So the Democrats are going to have to look at that example and come up with their own Tea Party if they want to get back in this game, because right now they're not in the game. Right now, they're basically talking to their own base. They're basically just speaking to their own base. They're not talking to a lot of people in between. And I think that's the big dilemma that they have. Now, can they get out of this mess? Of course they can. I mean, look, nothing is permanent. And let's be honest about it. If Trump makes some mistakes, and he will, of course, it's only human, he will, that gives the Democrats opportunities to get back in the game. But right now, Trump is winning, the Democrats are losing, and there is nobody on the Democrat bench, to use the baseball analogy, there's nobody in that bench that the manager can look at and say, hey, go out there and give me a big hit. Go out there and tie the game for me. They don't have anybody like that. They don't have anybody like that. The left of center, the Alejandro Ocasio-Cortez, the governor of Illinois, those people are not going to do it. The governor of Colorado, he's not going to do it. These senators who are basically left center, they're not going to do it because they don't have any ability to go outside of their base. They don't have anyone who can go into all of those counties in the middle of the country that Trump won and say, we have a message for you. They don't. They just don't have anybody like that. And then to make matters worse, they keep doubling down on issues that are not helping them, like men playing in women's sports. This scandal coming out of somewhere around Chicago. There's a school district where, a young woman was, or a team of young women, I guess, was forced to change with a man in their locker room, or a young man in their locker room. I mean, that's just crazy. Once upon a time, that would have been dismissed as a crazy person who needed help. Today, the Democrats turned it into a civil rights issue. And believe me, that's not clicking. That's not clicking with most Americans. That is simply not clicking. And they're going to have to get over stuff like that. I think, I'm not in the business of giving them advice, but I actually think they should get themselves behind Elon Musk in this sense. They should say, okay, Elon, we agree with you. Let's find waste and let's terminate waste, because all this waste and mismanagement and all of that makes it more difficult for us to sell government as a solution for people. So they have an opportunity if anybody in the party can stop thinking about Trump. That's the other problem they have. They don't seem to have anybody who can talk to you for 20 seconds without having to bash Trump. I mean, they are really infected with Trump derangement syndrome. And until they get over that, I mean, I've told my friends that. I've told my Democrat friends that. They got to go to the psychiatrist and get Trump out of their heads. Because as long as Trump is living rent-free in their heads, they're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. They got to get over Trump. They've got to start thinking about something beyond Trump that they can talk to the American people about. And right now, they don't have anything close to that at all. I'll just tell you that there's a Democrat named Douglas Schoen, who is about a devoted and loyal Democrat as there is. And just right after the president's speech to Congress, he wrote a column saying he doesn't even recognize his party anymore. And he's been a Democrat for 50 years, and he doesn't recognize the party. He says, this is crazy, what we saw during the president's speech. So memo to Democrats, you got to change your act, because your current act is not winning you any support other than the one you already have. Well, this weekend celebrates anniversary number 53 of the movie Godfather. Some of you may not remember that movie. I remember when it came out. I really didn't care that much about it when it came out, but I really, watched it many years later and did enjoy it a lot. And it's one of my favorite movies now. I remember back when it came out that it was very hard to get in to see it because, all the movie houses were full. Now, of course, you've got the convenience of downloading the movie or buying the movie or whatever it may be, so you can watch it at your own leisure. And the more I watch it, and I think I've watched it maybe 15 times now, the more I like it, the more I enjoy it, and the more I really see in that movie why so many people, liked it the first time around. So, happy number 53 to The Godfather, the great movie, The Godfather. Two scenes in that movie that will always stand out. The first one is when, do you remember the incident with the horse? When they went to that guy's house and they were trying to negotiate with him and he refused to do it. And the next day, there's a dead horse head on his bed. I mean, that's incredible. And then the other one, of course, is when Michael goes into that Italian restaurant and shoots the police chief and that other member of a rival gang, I guess, or whatever. Those two scenes really stand out in my mind as absolutely great stuff. The kind of stuff that you enjoy in a movie. Okay. I mean, yes, it is too violent, and yes, a little bit too bloody, but overall, it is really a very good movie, very well made. And as I said, I didn't really care for it that much when it came out, but as time goes by, I guess once I got my own VCR, that's what did it for me. I got my own VCR sometime in the 80s, late 80s, or whatever, mid 80s. I got my own VCR and I rented the movie. And once I rented the movie, I saw the movie and I kept renting it because I liked it. I liked it so much. And every time it goes on, they have it on TV, or every time, I have an opportunity to watch it, I enjoy it very much. It's a very good movie. Well, have a great weekend, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, Texas. Actually, I'm talking to you from East Texas today, but nevertheless, thank you for listening. Everybody have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye, everybody.